Thank you for speaking to Motor India. We are at Busworld India 2026 Conclave. How important are such conferences and events for the bus industry?
I mean, our industry is highly fragmented and highly unorganized. By having forums like these, we get the main stakeholders together. And by getting all the stakeholders together,
Yeah.
we can potentially make this industry slightly more professional, slightly more organized. And I think, we owe it because
True,
it's such a
true,
large industry.
true.
We owe it that we should do that.
As you saw and you heard the operators as well as the OEMs and the policymakers speaking, what do you think are the current growth drivers in the country? As an operator, what do you think is driving demand from your side?
I think the largest demand or the largest impetus to the growth that is happening in the country is the change in fuel type.
Okay.
And fuel type does not happen every day. It's happening once in a century. It's a once in a century opportunity to actually take a large market share of the 25 lakh buses that are running in the country.
So we talk about that as a fuel that is changing, be it diesel or electric. Now with electric vehicles coming into the option, the customers still are just warming up to it. They don't care whether the vehicle is diesel or electric.
True.
That, in sense, how you see the whole infra and even the OEMs pushing for electric, shaping more adoption for electric vehicles.
I think because it's a fairly new technology and because most of the new age OEMs are also finding their feet in terms of technology, in terms of product performance, I think we still have to take that one step extra to establish the kind of quality, the kind of comfort, and the kind of reliability that some of the more established, some of the legacy players were providing. I think when that starts happening in the e-bus segment, we will see greater adoption, especially when I talk Intercity. That's where, the holy grail is, getting really comfortable, really aspirational buses. And I think that's going to be the next phase of growth.
A lot of the people here spoke about affordability. Is financing that key that will unlock everything, the problem that we face in the industry?
I don't think financing in itself is a problem.
Okay.
Financing could be a problem if several factors have not been in line. So now, when we look at the GCC model, financing is not a problem at all. When we look at the intercity bus segment, the problem is that you have so many players that can actually come in at any point in time. There's no barriers to entry. And at that point in time, you as an investor are not so secure. As a financier, they're not so secure. And that's why financing becomes the problem. Financing in itself is available. There is, so many banks who have looked at this industry, so many success stories. But it's those small factors that we need to solve for.
No, I know it is difficult to pick one thing that we
Yeah.
want to change in the industry, but if you had to, within say infra, incentive, or the ROI that most of us look at, what will that immediate change
I
that we
think
should
since
look at?
we're like I'm standing with you and the media, I think the first thing we need to change is not infra, it's not incentives. It's the perception of buses.
Okay.
And the perception of buses is that they're unreliable, they break down, we don't know when it's going to come, they're going to be dirty. And it's not that aspiration that we create.
Correct.
The
Correct.
aspiration is to have a personal car.
True.
The aspiration is not that you have such a great public transport that everybody wants to move there, drop their private vehicles.
So
I think
aspiration
that
comes first, then all the
yeah,
other
so we
things.
need to change the perception. We need to stop talking about bus khadde mein gir gayi, bus jal gayi. We need to focus on what the bus is delivering today, right? And that is say 40 crore trips, 40 crore passenger trips every day.
Yeah.
So we need to talk about the impact that it's making. I think in the session also somebody said that we are the world's second largest bus market,
Yeah.
right? So we're not acting like
Correct.
the most important segment in mobility, right? I think taxis are getting more importance, two-wheelers are getting more importance, but we're moving so many more people,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So I think that perception needs to
But
change.
do you think the state transport or the state governments and the central government are pushing in terms of policy and are more favorable towards this or going
Yeah, now
better?
when you see the new requirements that are coming for new tenders, you also see that they're focusing on comfort, they're focusing on interiors, good exteriors. I think one of the tenders that just happened, they asked for not just a plastic seat which you normally get in a city bus, but also, you know, it has to have certain amount of padding, it needs to be cleaned regularly, and all of those SLAs are defined. So now STUs are also getting you know, quite um, they're thinking about these things which will impact the customer experience.
And lastly, as Chartered Speed, what is up for you? What are you offering to your customers, and what can they expect in terms of all these aspects: service, reliability, comfort? If you would want to highlight that.
I think what we realized is that if you're just another bus player, then people are deciding between price and time.
Yeah.
So when they want to go and at what price they want to go, right? But if you provide that kind of emotional connection, if you provide a superior service, so we've just launched the first brand, and it's called First by Chartered Bus,
Okay.
where customer comes first, where safety comes first, where comfort comes first, right? And that kind of sort of basis creates, you know, great customer experience, aspiration for buses, and I think that's what
That is
we're
important.
focusing on. Yeah.
Great thoughts, Sam.
Yeah.
Thank you for speaking to us.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah.